Here's what I would do if my friend asked me, hey, Levi, I would like to be an Uber driver. Here's the things that I would tell them. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. In today's episode, I'll talk about my ideas on what I would advise my friend. And I would also talk with you just kind of what it's like to experience a long ride with a passenger that's quiet in the back seat. And then I'm going to answer your questions and comments. I guess if my friend came to me and was like, Levi, I love all your content. It looks like Uber driving is fun. And it is. I want to be an Uber driver. What do you recommend? I guess the first thing I would tell them is to plan their exit. I would tell them to plan on getting out of the business. There's some obvious reasons why I think we all know it's not a high paying job. It can be very stressful if it's your main source of income or things like that. But I think what happens, and it happened to me, is you get into gig work, Uber driving, DoorDash, Lyft, whatever, with this idea of like, I need maybe some supplemental income, or I want to pay off a debt, or I have a short-term goal or whatever it is. And then you get into it. And because the apps are gamified and they're fun and it can be stressful too, but you start thinking to yourself, hey, I can make this work. And then you stop doing what you originally planned to do. And then you expand operations. That's what happened to me. Again, I became an Uber driver because I needed a little bit of walking around money. If you ever seen The Wire, just need a little spending cash on the side. And the first night I did it, I had so much fun. I made $100, and then COVID hit, and life changes, and I was like, I could be a full-time Uber driver, and ended up where I am today. Now it's not necessarily a bad thing, but your goals change. So when I say plan your exit, if you said, hey, I want to pay off a credit card. I got a $2,000 credit card. I want to pay that off. Then make your $2,000 and leave. If you wanted to maybe get a diamond ring for your fiance, I've been watching this one TikTok channel. This guy's like, it's day 18 of me trying to make $6,000 to buy a diamond ring for my fiance. Buy the ring and then leave. It doesn't mean you have to stop doing it forever, but don't get caught up in change unless circumstances change. The next thing I would probably advise people on is this idea of mastering one thing at a time. It's true. Drivers like me, and there are drivers that do a lot better than me, they have many, many, many apps running. They're driving in a lot of different cities. They're driving a couple of different cars. They're doing food, passenger. They're going in stores and shopping. They're picking up packages at Walmart. I've done it all. Maybe not all, but for the most part. And they go to different neighborhoods and airports, and they drive late at night and early in the morning. They drive in the middle of the day. It can be daunting. And you're going to end up in the same range of money for the most part anyway. I mean, you might make $20, you might make $50 an hour. And that does seem like a lot of difference. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. So I would master one thing at a time. So, for example, in my friend's case, my friend is like, Levi, I really, really like watching your YouTube videos, and it's fun to see you interacting with passengers, and I want to drive passengers. Okay. Then I would say, if their hours or they want to work the weekends, I would say go to a neighborhood like a college or a bar scene or whatever, and become really good at that neighborhood and picking up people in that situation, because it's different than picking up people like at the airport, or picking up people and going to other cities and driving, or doing long trips or short trips or whatever. Just become really good at one thing. In fact, if it were me, I would probably go back in time and say, I'm going to Uber drive around my village here in Casanova, just to kind of see I've never really done it that much. I've gotten a few rides, but just kind of stay out in the rural countryside and just master that. Be good at that one thing. If it's food, get really good at food delivery in a certain area. So I think location, time, and the item that you're going to work in, and the app. That's the final thing. The app is probably the most important. You can download all the apps, and sign up for them all. Just get really good at one. Just get really good at one app. So get one good with Uber, driving college students, in a party town late at night or whatever, and get good at that. Understand that, and then shift models and then expand that way. Say, now I'm going to do Uber from the airport long trips. I'm going to do early morning taking people to work from the suburbs. I'm gonna try to understand DoorDash. So just master one thing at a time. Don't Because again, your goal is to pay off that credit card, or the goal is to make $6,000, or the goal is to make $100 a week. There's no need to make everything so complex if your goals are really simple. All right, the third thing, and I hear this all the time, people will say, treat Uber like a business. I agree. But what does that really mean? What does that really mean? What does a business entail? It's, operations, marketing, and et cetera. I think the number one thing though that every business has is accounting. Now, I'm an economist and an accountant. That's what I really like. So bear with me. Accounting. I think I coined this phrase. I don't know. But when I was teaching accounting in college, I said something like, accounting is the language. It's the universal language of business. A balance sheet is a balance sheet. The generally accepted accounting principles are pretty much true. Yes, different countries do different things because there's different taxes, but for the most part, there's revenue, expenses, profitability. And the way you track all that is through accounting. Now, how would you treat that like a business? I'm going to go back to the very simplest way to be a gig worker, an Uber driver. You need to make $100 every weekend. Okay, how do you treat that like a business? Well, you go out and you drive. And when you cash out at the end of your drive, you pay for all your expenses. And then whatever's left over, that's your $100. That's what you need to get to. So you probably need to make 100, probably 115, 120. Now, okay, so you're like, I cashed out 120, I pay myself 100, and then where does that other $20, whatever, go? That goes into a separate account where you keep it to pay for your expenses. And you're like, well, how do I have so much expenses? Well, there'll be tires and gas and repairs on your car, and you can go through the whole anything, taxes. Build a savings account, build an asset. Now imagine that. So, okay, let's go through that scenario again. You need to make $100 every time you go out and drive. You cash out $120. You go out and drive for however long it takes to make $120. You cash that out. You take $100 and you put it in your personal account and you go, yay, I've made that money. Great. Take the extra 20, put it into a new savings account and just keep it there and grow it. Once it gets to a sizable amount, maybe you can do some things with it, pay off your car. You can get new tires. But let's pretend you do this for a whole year. So 52 weeks, you put $20 a week into it. What is that? $1,000? Roughly $1,000. Did I say that right? I think so. 20 times 50, yeah, 1,000. I'm an accountant, not a mathematician. But you have that $1,000, and let's say you're done Uber driving. You're like, I'm never going to do it anymore. That $1,000 is still yours. You can cash that out, take it out of that savings account, put it back into your personal account. But you can actually use that $1,000 as leverage. So for drivers like me, I'm putting like $200-$300 a week, $400 a week into an account like that. And I've got thousands and thousands of dollars saved up. So when I want to buy another car, or if I want to, I can operate it like a business. That's the way I think as a business and accounting. Now, there'll be other people that'll tell you, get some business cards maybe and hand those out and everything. Yeah, maybe. But if you're just starting out, don't try to get business cards instead of private rides. A, it could be illegal. B, it could be get you kicked off the app. It could be a real challenge. So if your goal is simple and you have an exit strategy and you're trying to master one thing at a time, next thing, master the accounting of the business. Third thing, or fourth thing, I should say, don't marry an app. Now, that's going to be contradictory to the second thing, but I would download 2 or 3 apps: Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. That's my 3 that I primarily work in. I've downloaded others and I've never really done anything with them. But I have a fear, a rational fear, by the way, that one day I'll be kicked off one of the apps for whatever reason. Who knows? And I need that income. I'm now counting on that $100 a week or for me, $1,000+ a week. I need that money. So if that's the case, if that's what the case, I can't let the apps dictate whether I work or not. I can't let one app do that. Now, I say I'm an Uber driver. And the reason why I say I'm an Uber driver is because it wouldn't make sense to a lot of people if I said I'm a rideshare driver or if I'm a Lyft driver and I don't really do that much food delivery. So Uber is just kind of like the word like Post-it note or Kleenex. I say Kleenex, but it could be any tissue. It doesn't really matter to me. Well, I say Uber. Uber's just the word for what I do. But don't marry an app. And so date around. So once you kind of get master of one app and you get really good at one thing, maybe try another one and have them all downloaded, be up and running in them. One of the things that I like to do is I always use almost every app that I have, the 3 apps, Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash. I use them all, if not daily, at least weekly. I'm trying to make money in one of those apps every single week, stay current with the app. And I know there's some hacks where it's like, oh, if you don't use the app for a long period of time, they may give you a bonus. And yes, those are all true. But I just want to be, if Uber kicks me off or if Lyft kicks me off, I can go to the other app and just work. I could just flip a switch and go get that money. Final thing, and this is kind of my goal for 2026. I've been talking about it. Keep it fun. When you first start doing gig work, you'll find out if it's a good fit for you or not. If it's not a good fit, you'll quit and you'll do something else. But if you start doing Uber or Lyft or DoorDash and you like it, the gamification, the sitting in your car, listening to podcasts, meeting new people, whatever it is, remember that feeling and try to keep that feeling. Don't let it happen. What happened to me is turn into a grind. Because it's a job. It is a job and you have to make money, but keep it fun. So find little hacks, little ways for you to go, this is a fun thing for me. For 2026, I've been in the last few months of the last year, I've been focusing on my own little challenges. So my friend Zeke and I have been doing challenges where it's like, who can get the farthest away from the airport by taking rides? Who can make the most money in a certain night? Who can earn the most money in tips? Those are all fun little challenges. That's ways for me to keep it fun. Another thing, and you've probably seen it here on the channel or other places I post content, I write little stories about the people that I meet, little vignettes. And I love that because it's the people that I meet in my city that brings a lot of joy to my life. And sometimes it's sorrow because you meet people in some really bad situations sometimes as a driver. But nonetheless, it helps me journal it and write it down and remember that feeling that I had. That kept it fun. I'm using air quotes here, fun for me. Yeah, so there you go. That's my 5 things. I'm sure if you're a driver and you've been doing it for many years, you have some other advice. Leave that in the comments here. See if my advice works for you. But again, it's like, hey, plan your exit, master one thing at a time, operate like a business. For me, that means focusing on accounting. Don't marry just one app. Download as many as you want and always kind of use them a little bit, even if you're really making most of your money off of one app. And of course, keep it fun. Now my ride. Oh my gosh, I had a ride where I took a guy from the Syracuse airport all the way up to Watertown. So it's an hour plus long ride. It was a really good ride. We talked for a little bit to start the ride, but it was getting late. It was getting dark. And next thing I know, he's kind of on his phone. He's just dozing off a little bit. I'm sitting there in the quiet. Now, for this ride, because when he got in the ride, we started talking, I had turned the radio down to where there was no volume. So there was no music playing. And it just got really quiet in the car. And I can hear him resting, sleeping. I think every now and then he got up and got on his phone. But it was just me and him in the quiet. And I think there's something special to that. There's a part of me that feels I'm doing a really good job if my passenger trusts me enough to sleep while I drive. And that road between Syracuse and Watertown, there's nothing there. There's a couple of little towns of 500 people, maybe 1,000 people. It's out in the country. There had been some blizzards the days before, so all along while we're driving, you can see just piles of snow everywhere. And I get alone in my thoughts. Now, for this particular ride, I had a podcast playing. It was a sports one, but it shut off pretty early. So then it was just quiet. And I didn't want to fidget with my phone to put a new podcast on or some music. I didn't want him to see me doing that. So I just sat there in the quiet, alone in my thoughts, thinking about things. And I think there's some real value in our lives to disconnect, to be quiet. It's almost a form of meditation. The way the road goes out in front of you and out long views, the lines, it's hypnotic to some extent. And it's important. So every now and then when I do a long ride, I kind of, what do they call it? I can't remember what it's called, but when you get on an airplane and you sit there and you don't have anything, you just stare at the back of the seat in front of you. It's a form of meditation, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing to find some quiet time just to do that. And yeah, I feel a sense of privilege and honor that my passenger feels comfortable enough that, hey, this guy's going to get me to my destination safely. I don't have to pay attention to what he's doing, driving the car. I'm in good hands. Let me just relax for my flight and get ready to go home. And that's a good thing. And again, he did. He tipped me really well, so that was really good and very kind of him. Let's get into your comments. The first comment from Stanley. I put a question out to people like, hey, what other challenges can we do nationwide? We just finished the New Year's Eve challenge where I Venmoed people money for the shortest trip of the night, the longest trip, etc. And Stanley came up with an idea, and let me hear your thoughts on this. Stanley's game is, he says, a 4x4 drive and delivery who maxes out. You get to pick your hours, heads up challenge, biggest tip total wins. And I think what he's getting at is you drive for 4 hours on Uber as a passenger kind of thing or Lyft. And then you do 4 hours on a delivery app. And then you total up your tips at the end of those 4 hours. And whoever has the most tips wins. I like that. That sounds fun. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to put another $100 on my Venmo account and pay out to you guys if that works. So, but yeah, I love these challenges, and I like thinking of things that are a little bit more than just how much money you can make, because there's other ways we can probably do it. I thought of one game with me and Zeke where we might do something like get our passenger to say something. So, for example, can you get your passenger to say like 6'7" on video? Right? Whoever gets the most amount of passengers to say 6'7" wins or something like that. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be who makes the most amount of money, because that can be a very boring game over and over and over again. And there are people in cities that are always going to win versus people that are in different areas. So think of fun games that we can play nationwide, and I'll keep putting money on my Venmo account to pay everybody. DC City Airport, whatever that means, he said, how much Uber pay you have to do this? I think what he means is how much is Uber paying me to do this? And he's referring to the competitions, the games that I like to play. And it's fun. Uber pays me the same amount they pay you guys. I don't think Uber even thinks I exist. I'm so low on their radar. I think Sergio, Torsten, probably driver Eddie, there's a few guys, Dustin is driving. There's a few really big YouTubers, your driver Mike, that are really, really big. I'm not that big. So I'm not on the radar. They don't care about me. They're going to kick me off the app the same way they kick you guys off the app or anybody else. I would, if Uber does pay me, I'll let you know. I'm not ashamed to tell you. I'm out here to make money. So that's fine. Okay, the final thing here. A TR something 2VX whatever says, he has a long comment, and I kind of know what this comment is, but I'm gonna let you read most of it on your own, but I'll read some of the highlights here. He says, this video and gig tubers always leave out or incorrectly calculate their operating costs. Okay, how do I address that? And he broke down costs, and sure, his costs are fine. First, I made a whole masterclass that you can find right there on the front page of my YouTube channel about how I do all this kind of stuff. And it's broken down into how I calculate costs, how I pick out trips, how I clean my car, whatever. It's a huge masterclass. It's a 2-hour long video. And I'm a cost accountant. So I think I know a lot about how to calculate my costs, but I think what it is not necessarily do I know how to do it, is that each one of us do our own thing differently, and we're all unique. And I think what's been really frustrating for me as a gig tuber in his mind is that each one of us think we're right. We know how to do things. We're doing it right. My big beef, and you've heard me talk about this a lot on the channel, is people that swear up and down, you have to cherry pick. And I'm not disagreeing with them. I cherry pick rides. I've got a low acceptance rate. But I don't think you have to cherry pick. I don't think there's always these sweet, perfect rides that are out there. I think sometimes you've got 2 hours to go make as much money as you can. You better start taking some trips. Sitting there parked for 2 hours and not taking any trips and bringing home $0 to pay your mortgage, it's kind of stupid. So I think there are times to cherry pick, and like I did on New Year's Eve or Halloween, it was great. And I'm very strategic about the rides that I take, but I'm focusing on cherry picking. Let me go back to this guy's comment here. We all incorrectly calculate our operating costs. Well, I think each one of us does it uniquely. Now, it's important that we all estimate costs. And in my example in this video, I said, if you need to bring home $100 a night, you should probably make 120 and take 20 and put it into a savings. Now, is it the most perfect, generally accepted accounting principle to do it that way? No, but you're still putting money aside. And I think that's ultimately what this guy's getting at here is you better not just look at how much money goes into your account as how much money you made. What you really ought to do is how much money went into your account minus how much money you spent. And I think for some people who are going to make $100 a week, yeah, just putting aside a little bit of money, how much money you spend on gas, that's fine. For people like me that are doing it, where I'll drive upwards of 60 hours in a week sometimes, that's a little bit different, right? So I'm going to calculate my cost per mile. I have some fixed costs, and a lot of my costs are not even relevant to taxes. I just pay for things. Like I pay for a gym membership because I'm always traveling really far away from my house. So TR, I get you, man, or whatever the guy's name is. Yeah, you're right. It's important to calculate our operating costs. I'm just not gonna do that for every single video. Each video has its own purpose. And if you really want to know how I operate, go look at my masterclass. And it's a great tool, and I'm really proud of that. In fact, I'm going to have to do one more and update it for this year. Hey, drivers, for 2026, I want you to have fun. That's my goal for this year. Have some fun. Enjoy the ride. I really, truly do. I want you to still make money. I want you to be safe. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy, but enjoy it for all it can be, because it can be a lot of fun. My name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive. I want you to know that I am cheering for you. Be well. Bye.